Today we're going to be building this single action figure display stand. This is going to be a full build. We're just going to line this piece of foam up here to make sure, yeah, that looks straight. I'm going to put a line here so I know where the actual visible part of the base ends. So these were pre-cut already. I cut them on my Proxxon hot wire cutter, but you can cut them using a blade just like the snap blade we're using here, and a straight edge metal ruler, no problem. So I'm just making some lines here, guidelines for cinder blocks on the bottom part of this wall piece, and now I'm putting these ½ inch apart, and these are going to be actual bricks on the top part of the wall here. Now you can do this by eye if you want to, and you don't want to use you know, a ruler. It depends on what kind of look you're going for. If you want to look uniform, then using the ruler probably makes a lot more sense. So using this metal ruler here, you can guide the razor blade along very easily, and it's much safer than trying to use the plastic ruler. If you use a plastic ruler, normally I will draw the line across and then try to follow the line with the blade without a ruler there, because the blade has a tendency to jump up onto the plastic. It'll cut into it and it'll get it'll skip around a bit. It's just not as safe as using the metal ruler. But either way, you should be you know, very careful with this. You don't want to be sleepy when you're doing this stuff. So just finishing up these lines here, and once we get all these cut, oh yeah, I didn't cut these yet. So we're going to cut these, and you see I'm not using the straight edge because I use the plastic ruler just to draw the line, and it's pretty easy to follow these lines. You know, if you're a little off, it doesn't really matter. You can be wildly off and it can still look pretty good. So I'm going to use a dull pencil now to open these lines up, and that's going to you know, obviously make a big difference when we paint it, so it has a place for the black paint or the darker paint to kind of settle into. And we're going to make this so where the details on the side as well, so when you're looking at it from the front and the side, you're going to be able to see the it's not just going to be plain blank foam, which the back will be. We're not going to finish the back of this particular one. So just making sure we cut all these lines, and then we're going to do the same exact thing, opening them up with the pencil just like we did before. Dull pencil. Sharp pencil will tend to break. Now we're going to draw the vertical lines, which once again, if you want to be particular, you can use a ruler. I find it's pretty hard to do small brick. The blocks are not that hard, but the smaller brick like this is it's pretty difficult to do a lot of them without using a line. And the more that you do, the more likely it's going to look more and more, you know, wonky as you go along. So a small thing like this, you could definitely get away with it, and it just has the, you know, it just depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a cartoonish look, sure, just go for it. And remember, just go for it anyway. You can do this stuff. You know, this little small display is not going to take that long. So if you spend an hour making something and it's a little different than what you thought, that's totally cool. So the top piece is basically done with the initial layout. Now, if you take your thumb and the pen and like pinch it against the side here like this, you kind of immobilize the pen and pretty much make a straight line if you do it correctly, which I don't always, but yeah, see, you can kind of just wing it and they line up pretty good. Once you try it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And we're just going to draw some sections down here to indicate we're going to make like 4 tiles on the base of this. We're going to just use a knife and cut this because this wasn't super straight. I could have done a little better job at that, but that's no big deal at all. We're just going to put a line in there, and no one's even going to look at it ever again, probably. So just using this straight edge. Now, you don't need to use this type of snap-off blade. I do like these, and a lot of guys use these, but you can also use an X-Acto, you know, whatever you have handy. So we're going to use this tin foil ball, just balled up aluminum foil, to put some texture on this, and that's going to give it a stone texture. You can grab, you know, I'm grabbing this ruler to add some lines and some dents in here. A little more work with the ball, and if you had like a rock or something like that, you can do like, you can smack it around with a rock and make all dents and stuff. So I'm putting some chips in. This is going to have like, a little chipped stone look to it. So now we're just going to add some texture to this other part of the wall, and using this balled up aluminum foil again. And this, we're going to draw a semicircle here because we're going to make some battle damage on this wall. Something like if, I don't know, like if Iron Man blasted the wall, or a laser, or something like a cannon shot through it. So we're going to use this curved cut here. We're going to use this snap utility knife. Now this is something you wouldn't be able to do easily with a X-Acto blade. This type of blade works really well for this though. A hot wire would also work okay for that. So we're just going to keep cutting all these little lines out around the opening here, and that's going to make it eventually look kind of like there was a blast or some kind of damage that shot through the wall. So this, we're going to join the top and the bottom with magnets on this particular one. And I do that a lot, especially if you're going to break down the diorama to ship it, or if you just want to be able to store it. It's something very common that lots of people do in when they make action figure dioramas. So just making sure that the magnet fits well, and then you're going to, I usually just set both magnets, joined to each other in the hole that I already made, the first hole I made, and then I can press it to the second one so I can kind of know where it's going to line up by making an indentation. And then we're just going to cut that out just like we did the first one. And you want to make sure that you have your magnets pointing in the right direction before you do this, but because I've glued them the wrong way a few times. Hot glue them in there, or you could use white glue, and that part is done. So we're going to add a top piece to this just to kind of, make it look a little bit more interesting, instead of having it just be a flat, boring top of a wall. So carve that out, and this is like, I don't know, like a chunk of concrete or something like that. Just going to add a little texture to that here and there too, and I noticed there were some spots on the hole. So I already pre-coated or base coated this with some black paint. And that's obviously very easy. There were 2 coats on this. Now we're going to do some dry brushing, and I'm starting with a little gray, which a pretty dark gray around the opening there and on the top and the bottom. Now I'm using just a regular red color here to get the bricks, and usually when you base coat black you have to do more than 1 coat of color to kind of get it to look vibrant. This is just like a tan. I think it's called honey brown. I'm going to use that for these bottom cinder blocks here. I kind of like the way this color looks. I've used this color scheme a lot. So just going to add that second coat of red on here, and this is dry brushing, so I'm wiping off a lot of the paint onto the newspaper there on the table. So just remember, you don't want to load up too much paint on there, and just progressively going through with lighter and lighter shades of gray. I think I used 3 shades of gray on this. That's usually what I do. Now there's lots of other details you can add to this. You can put stickers on here, you could add beams or debris or anything like that, or Mod Podge coat it. But these are the basic steps, and I hope it gets you started.